What's up, Jackson? What's up, Tony? Good afternoon. Today, I'm going to talk about a real important subject, and that's hypertension. Hypertension is the silent killer, and it literally kills more people than the top 3 deadliest diseases. In other words, the diseases, the illnesses that you get related to hypertension are the ones that are killing the majority of people, which are heart attacks, stroke, things related to your cardiovascular system. So let's get an idea of what hypertension actually is. So the way you determine an individual's blood pressure in the arterial walls, okay? And so the way you can understand this is this. Your heart is your pump, and it's got to pump blood to every part of your body. It's got to go all over. So it's an amazing pump because it's a pump that's got to work your entire lifetime. And it's capable of working your entire lifetime efficiently, but you need to take care of it. So a good example, a lot of people have pool pumps, water pump, and you understand these pumps have all gone bad. And for example, your sprinkler system. The sprinklers can become clogged, so the pump's working, but wherever it's going, it's not getting there because the plumbing is clogged. This is the same thing in your body, people. So I want you to look at your heart and the cardiovascular system. So the heart's the pump, and the cardiovascular system, that's the plumbing that's providing oxygen and nutrients to every single part of your body. So let's go ahead and talk about what leads to hypertension. So what leads to hypertension predominantly is lifestyle. And so it's called the silent killer because it's things that you've done throughout your entire life that have slowly led to problems with your cardiovascular system specifically. So when you talk about blood pressure and how you determine your blood pressure it's the amount of blood that your heart is pumping against the resistance that's put on the arterial walls. So in a way, I want you to kind of look at that to get an idea of how your heart is working. If I had a shake, a thick shake, and I was to drink that shake. If I was to drink that shake through a very thick straw, it's easy to drink that shake now. But if I try to drink that shake through a little bar straw, those little tiny thin little straws, man, you can imagine you'll blow your brain out trying to drink that shake. So you don't want your heart pushing blood throughout the entire body with it having this resistance put up against your arterial walls. And that's what hypertension is. It's a prolonged amount of force or stress put up against the arterial walls, which eventually leads to problems. Now, arteries go to everything in your body. So you can imagine how many systems can be affected. So let's talk about the primary problem. So damage to your arteries. What happens there? So this prolonged pressure that's put on the arterial walls, that piping, that pressure over time leads to damage of the arterial walls. So it actually leads to tears. The arterial walls are very elastic and pliable. They stretch, they contract, they stretch and contract. When you exercise, your heart has to pump more blood, so your arterial walls have to get bigger. When you're not exercising, you're relaxing, your heart doesn't have to pump as much blood. So you're chilled out and your arterial walls are not as expanded. So it's important that your arterial walls are very pliable. So what happens over time is arterial walls develop damage from this increased pressure being put on the plumbing, on the pipe, on the arterial walls, and it leads to damage. And combine that with a poor diet, a fatty diet, those fats build up on the arterial walls and give a condition called atherosclerosis. So now the arterial, and sclerosis is hardening. So now these arteries that go throughout the entire body, and you can kind of look at this chart, it shows the nervous system, but with the nerves, there's arteries that are going all over the body. What you see in red, they're going all over the body, everything. Your fingers, your brain, everything has an artery going to it. Everything has an artery going to it. And when your kidneys, your liver, your heart, your brain, everything. Go ahead, step back, camera woman. So you get a kind of idea that the plumbing is going everywhere. So when you get this damage to the arterial walls and it's becoming hardened, remember, blood pressure is determined by the amount of blood your heart pumps against and the amount of force that's put up against the arterial walls. So the thinner those arterial walls become, the more force, the more blood your heart is pumping, the higher your blood pressure is. So damage to arterial walls in the sense of atherosclerosis. Other things that can happen is you can get what's called an aneurysm. Aneurysm is when you have this prolonged pressure put on your arterial walls and you get like an outpouching. When you were kids and you rode a bike and the threads wore out and the tube popped through, that's an aneurysm. And the next thing that happens is pop, it pops. You can get aneurysm everywhere, people. They're common, more common in the aorta, but you can get them in your brain, you can get them in the arteries going to your kidneys. So the damage that high blood pressure causes to your cardiovascular system, specifically to your arteries, atherosclerosis, aneurysms, lead to problems as far as that concerned that eventually lead to heart condition. So you can get damage to your heart because your heart needs blood going to it too. It needs blood, nutrients, it needs oxygen. So you have what's called coronary heart disease. And that's when your coronary arteries are becoming smaller. And you can get problems related to that. You can get myocardial infarctions, you can get myocardial myopathy. That's when your heart becomes bigger, specifically on the left side, because that pump is working so hard. Remember when I told you about drinking that straw, drinking that shake? Your heart, if you're drinking that shake through that very thin straw, it's tough. When your heart is trying to pump the blood throughout the body through the thinner, the smaller diameter of those arterial walls, it's working harder, people, causing damage. And an aneurysm is nothing more than, just like in the plumbing, in the piping, there's been pressure going for some time and there's a weakness in that pipe, and all of a sudden, boom, it bursts. When that happens to you, people, that's serious. That's a life-threatening condition. When it happens in your brain, that leads to a stroke. So other damages besides your cardiovascular system, you can have damage to your brain. Periods of time when you have lack of oxygen going to your brain, it leads to damage. Or if you have a stroke, it leads to damage. So hypertension leads to cardiovascular disease. It can lead to brain problems in the sense of cognitive ability, memory loss, as well as strokes, people. You can also have damage to your kidneys, people. When you have hypertension, your kidneys is what filters everything in your body. Okay, so you see how this hypertension, it sounds not too scary. Look, it's already affecting the cardiovascular system. It's affecting your heart. It's affecting your brains. It's affecting your brain. And now it's affecting your kidneys, which filters out all the toxins that are in your body. You don't want to have your kidneys not functioning properly, people. It affects the filtration. So that's another thing that hypertension affects, as well as your eyesight, people. Again, eyes, everything needs blood, needs oxygen, and needs nutrients. And when the arterial walls are thin or small, then wherever it's going, they're not getting the sufficient amount of oxygen and nutrients, it can be a problem. Besides that, people, this is a big one. It might get hopefully it gets your attention. It's sexual dysfunction, and that goes for men and women. Again, everything has blood supply going to it. So if you have small diameter and arterial walls, for men it's going to have sexual dysfunction, but women, you're not excluded from this. It can get you too as well. So what puts you at risk for hypertension? First of all, people, you should know what your blood pressure actually is. So blood pressure, 1 in 3 people already have pre-hypertension. So what is pre-hypertension? That's anything above 119, systole, and diastole, anything above 79. So 1 in 3 people already have pre-hypertension. Check your blood pressure. Even if you're in your 20s and your 30s, your blood pressure may be 128 over 85. That's pre-hypertension. And everybody knows what comes after pre, hey, you get the real thing, which is hypertension. So pre-hypertension is anything greater systole than 119. So 120 is pre-hypertension. But you don't actually have hypertension stage 1 until you're above 139. So systole 139 or above, with a diastole 90 or above, then you have pre-hypertension. Or not pre-hypertension, but stage 1 hypertension. Stage 2 is 165 or above, systole 100 above, diastole. People, first understand and know what your blood pressure is. If you're seeing this video and you haven't had a physical in a year or two, or it's been longer, get to a doctor, get a physical. If you're over 45, make sure you're getting a physical. Make sure you understand and know whether or not you have high blood pressure. Because the things and the conditions related to it, if you catch it early enough, it's reversible. But if you don't catch it at all, the first symptom you might actually get could be a heart attack, could be a stroke, and that's game ending, people. And the sad thing about that, when people lose their life to this, is these conditions were completely preventable. You never had to have it. It's completely diet related and lifestyle related. So now that we understand what hypertension is, which is high blood pressure, we understand that the pressure is determined by the amount of blood that your heart is pumping against the amount of resistance that blood's getting against your arterial walls. So the smaller diameter of the arterial walls, the greater your blood pressure. What makes those diameter walls smaller is a thing called atherosclerosis. That's a buildup of plaque of fats on the arterial walls from the arterial walls being damaged from high blood pressure. What does it affect? Multiple systems in your body, people. Cardiovascular, your heart, your kidneys, your brain, sexual dysfunction, your eyesight. I could go on and on. And if you have diabetes related to this, then these conditions are even, increased, 10 times. So what can you do to prevent it? And what can you do to change it? Number one, people, you have to monitor, you have to care about what you're putting in your body. what you're eating. A lot of people might be having lunch right now, and you're eating some fast food, or you're eating something from a box, or you're eating something from a can. People, look at the sodium content of that. That's not food. You got to eat real food, people. You got to eat fruits. You got to eat vegetables. You got to eat nuts. You got to eat healthy foods, people, because that's what your body was designed to consume, not stuff in a box, people. If you're not exercising, people, you have to exercise. You have to get mobile. Remember, I talked about heart rate and the amount of blood that your heart pumps. Well, the higher your heart rate, that means that's the more blood that your heart has to pump. The lower your heart rate, okay, the less blood that your heart has to pump. So guess what? When you're inactive and you're not exercising, your heart rate goes up. When you're active and you're exercising, your heart rate goes down. Because you're building, your heart is a muscle, people. You have to exercise it. People, if you're smoking, the chemicals that they put in tobacco damage your arterial walls. So the chances of you developing hypertension if you're smoking tobacco increase greatly due to the chemicals that are in tobacco. As far as any drug related to drugs, that's going to cause high blood pressure. As well as alcohol, people, you got to monitor and control your alcohol consumption. No more than 2 drinks a day. And when I say 2 drinks a day, people, I mean 2 beers. I mean, if it's wine, it's 2 4-ounce glasses of wine. And if it's hard liquor that you drink, no more than 3 ounces, 2 drinks, 1.5 ounces a drink, and that's it. As far as other things, people, you can't eliminate all your stress. I got it. But you can find ways of reducing stress by finding something that helps you relieve stress, like some type of exercise program, yoga, painting, whatever the case may be, people. So hypertension, people, is completely related to lifestyle. If you have lifestyle that's not conducive to being healthy, you got to work towards changing it. Again, hypertension is the #1 killer. It precedes the top 3 illnesses out there. Hypertension and the diseases related to it are killing more people. Over 75 million people in America suffer from hypertension, not pre-hypertension, but full-blown hypertension. So it's a serious condition, people. Get out there, see a physician, see a cardiologist, know whether or not you have it, and if you do have it, get it under control. Listen, I'm Doc Tony. I appreciate your time. God bless you all, and enjoy the rest of your day.